How do I sound confident without bragging? I have heard that question hundreds of times. First, I was a trial attorney and I would prepare witnesses for trial. I tried hundreds of cases, and witnesses would often be worried about sounding confident on the stand without sounding like they were bragging. And then I started doing the work that I do now, which is to teach people like you how to communicate and influence by using your stories and your evidence and the energy of your body, including your tone of voice, to ask for what you want and get it. And one of the questions I always get is, how do I sound confident without bragging? So let me give you the three keys to sounding confident without coming across like you're bragging. The first thing is focus on your solution and not yourself. If you had discovered the cure for cancer, you would not be worried about bragging. You would be running around telling everyone who would listen that you have discovered the cure for cancer. You would be reaching out to everyone you knew. You would be asking people to tell people that you had found the cure for cancer. You would be knocking on doors, calling up friends, telling everyone that you had the solution to so many people's problems. You do have the solution to some problems. It may not be as grand and life-changing as the cure for cancer, but you might have the answer to increase a company's bottom line. You might have the way to get them more resources, more support, to make their employees happier, to make other people happier. You might have the answer to make someone healthier. You have the solution to someone's problem. And if you focus on that and talk about that rather than talking about how amazing you are, you will not come across like you are bragging. You will come across like you are sharing the solution to a problem. I saw this all the time in the courtroom. I represented doctors in medical malpractice cases. The doctors who would brag would talk about themselves. I did this and I did that, and I was awarded this award. Juries didn't like those people. But the doctors that would talk about what they did for the patient and why, what they have studied in the medical arena and why, juries loved those doctors because they weren't focused on themselves. They were focused on their solution. So you need to dive into your solution. What is the problem that you solve for the people that you are talking to? What is it that you do to solve that problem? Are there statistics that reflect how well you solve that problem? Really hone in on those things. Don't talk about how amazing you are. Talk about how amazing your solution is, and you will come across as confident and not bragging. So, number one, focus on your solution and not yourself. The second one is one you will hear me talk about all the time in different settings, and it is focus on credibility, not confidence. Some of you aren't going to want to hear this, but it is the truth. Credibility is so much more important than confidence. Confidence is self-assurance. It's that walking into a room knowing that you belong there. And it's a beautiful thing. We should all have confidence. But credibility is the ability to be believed. And that is based on evidence. Evidence like your training, your education, your experience, your smarts, your talents, your passion. All of those things build credibility. You know, I often say, if the jury doesn't believe us, we can't win. And in the courtroom, that is absolutely true. But you have your jury as well, and they need to believe you. They will believe you based on your credibility, not based on your confidence. Now, some of you might be concerned and saying, well, I don't really have training or experience or any of those things. You have something. You might have passion. You might have a natural talent. But if you need more credibility, go out and get it. In getting it, you will build your confidence. One thing I have seen time and time again when I prepared thousands of witnesses for trials and depositions is that credibility creates confidence, but it's never the other way around. No matter how confident someone acted, if they didn't have something to back it up, the juries could smell it. They could hear it in their voices, and they did not like it. And the same is true outside of the courtroom with your juries. Anyone that you want to influence and persuade, they will be impacted by your credibility. And that should be your focus. Credibility can build confidence, but not vice versa. So number one, to sound confident without sounding like you're bragging, the first thing is focus on your solution, not yourself. The second thing is focus on your credibility, not your confidence. And the third thing is almost always the thing that I will talk about, and that is your tone of voice. Your tone of voice is magic. People talk a lot about body language, facial expressions, all of those things, and they're great and they have their place. But there's a study out of Yale that tells us that you can tell more about a person's emotions from their tone of voice than their body language and their facial expressions combined. And that means a couple things. It means you want to be a really good listener to be able to tell what the people you're talking with are actually feeling. But in this situation, you want to sound like you are confident and not bragging. So I want you to think about that for a minute. Think about someone that you know who is a braggart. We all know them. And if you sit and imagine what it is to talk to that person in your mind's ear, you can hear their tone of voice and you know what bragging sounds like. Bragging sounds insecure. Bragging sounds uncertain. Bragging sounds a little bit doubtful. It does not sound confident. Now put that person aside and think of someone that you know that is truly confident and think about what their voice sounds like. It is very different. You know, if you are self-aware enough to be worried that you might sound like you're bragging, you probably won't, but you could sound worried. The thing about your tone of voice is it is always going to reflect what's going on with your beliefs. And that is why before you go interview for that job, make that presentation, make that ask, call that potential client, you want to get your beliefs in order. After I tried cases for 20 years, I got certified to be a hypnotist because I know the power of beliefs. If a witness doesn't believe in what they're saying, the jury can hear that. If a witness does believe in what they're saying, the jury can hear that as well. So you want to focus on your tone and think about what the tone of voice of bragging sounds like and what the emotions are that leads to that tone. It's usually doubt, insecurity. And if you are feeling doubtful and insecure, your voice is much more likely to sound like you're bragging. So your job is to get to a place where you feel confident and your voice will reflect that feeling. You do that by getting grounded in your solution, key number one, and by getting grounded in your credibility, key number two. So if you want to go out today and get a raise, get a job, get a promotion, get resources, get help, get time, get money, get investments, whatever it is, and you need to give off that energy of confidence without sounding like you're bragging, come back to this recording and remember the three keys. Number one, focus on your solution, not yourself. Number two, focus on credibility and not confidence. And number three, always focus on your tone of voice. Let me know how it works for you in the comments. I would love to hear which of these keys you think is going to be most applicable to your life and how they work and what else you want me to address. I teach people the tools of influence, the new tools of influence in light of AI and technology and social media and all of the content that's coming streaming at us. I would love to answer your questions.